Once the king called upon all of his wise men and asked them, "Is there any mantra or any suggestion which works in every situation, in every circumstance, in every place, and at every time? Is there one answer for all questions, something that can help me when none of you is available to advise me? Tell me, is there any mantra?" All the wise men were puzzled by the king's question. They thought and thought. After a lengthy discussion, an old wise man suggested something which appealed to all of them. They went to the king and gave him something written on a paper with the condition that the king was not to see it out of curiosity, only in extreme danger when the king finds himself alone, and there seems to be no way. Only then he can see it. The king put the paper under his diamond ring. Sometime later, the neighboring king attacked his kingdom. The king and his army fought bravely but lost the battle. The king had to flee on his horse. The enemies were following him, getting closer and closer. Suddenly, the king found himself standing at the end of the road. That road was not going anywhere. Underneath, there was a rocky valley 1,000 feet deep. If he jumped into it, he would be finished, and he could not return because it was a small road. The sound of enemy horses was approaching fast. The king became restless. There seemed to be no way. Then suddenly he saw the diamond in his ring shining in the sun, and he remembered the message hidden in the ring. He opened the diamond ring and read the message. The message was, "This too shall pass." The king read it and read it again. Suddenly something struck him. Yes, this too shall pass. He said to himself, "Only a few days ago, I was enjoying my kingdom. I was the mightiest of all the kings. Yet today, the kingdom and all my pleasures have gone. I am here trying to escape from enemies. Like those days of luxuries have gone, this day of danger too will pass." Calmness came over his face. He kept standing there. The place where he was standing was full of natural beauty. He had never known that such a beautiful place was also a part of his kingdom. The revelation of the message had a great effect on him. He relaxed and forgot about those following him. After a few minutes, he realized that the noise of the horses and the enemies coming was receding. They moved into some other part of the mountain and were nowhere near him. The king was very brave. He reorganized his army and fought again. He defeated the enemy and regained his empire when he returned to the empire. After the victory, he was received with much fanfare. The whole capital was rejoicing in the victory. Everyone was in a festive mood. Flowers were being showered on the king from every house, from every corner. People were dancing and singing. For a moment, the king said to himself, "I am one of the bravest and greatest kings. It is not easy to defeat me with all the reception and celebration." He saw an ego emerging in him. Suddenly, the diamond of his ring flashed in the sunlight and reminded him of the message. He opened it and read it again. It was written, "This too shall pass." He became silent. His face went through a total change from the egoist. He moved to a state of utter humbleness. He thought that if this too shall pass, then it is not his. The defeat was not his. The victory is not his. He is just a watcher. Everything passes by. We are witnesses to all this. We are the perceivers. Life comes and goes. Happiness comes and goes. Sorrow comes and goes. All these moments will pass away. Therefore, I should not get attached to all this. The story of the king and his diamond ring teaches us a valuable lesson about the nature of life. The message, "This too shall pass," reminds us that nothing in life is permanent, both good and bad. When we are faced with difficult times, it can be helpful to remember that these times will eventually pass. Similarly, when we are experiencing good times, it is important to not become too attached to them, as they will also eventually come to an end. The story also teaches us the importance of humility. The king was initially filled with pride and arrogance, but when he was reminded of the message in his ring, he was able to let go of his ego and see the world with a more open mind. This is a valuable lesson for all of us, as it can help us to live more peaceful and fulfilling lives. The story of the king and his diamond ring is a reminder that we should not take life too seriously. Everything in life is temporary, so we should enjoy the good times and learn from the bad times. We should also be humble and open-minded, as this will help us to live more peaceful and fulfilling lives.